Hiya guys, good morning, how are you all doing? I bet you're all really happy, aren't you? Are you okay and yeah, living the dream? Oh, coffee. So, following on from yesterday's video, I felt, oh, just a minute guys, yeah. I felt that, I don't know, I felt like I had more to say, but now I'm sitting here, it's like my mind's kind of gone blank, so I don't know. One of the hardest things on this journey, in fact, I think it may actually be, well, no, just one of the hardest things, is the fact that we're surrounded by people that invalidate us every step of the way. We are literally surrounded by them, and you can't take it personal, because I don't think it is. I think it's personal, but it feels that way, and it's incredibly painful, because to truly be awakening is a very, very painful thing. It really just is. And a lot of soul travelers, or whatever name you wanna, give yourself for that matter, because soul travelers is something, it's a terminology that I came up with, but it's just a word, that's all it is. We're very sensitive, and we've often had really, really shitty, painful, abusive childhoods. I don't know why. I don't understand why. I've not come across another person that I would feel as a soul traveller that has had an easy childhood. That just doesn't happen. I think it happens. Wow. Sorry guys, I'm just noticing that because there's a tree out my window here and it's just full of magpies this morning, which is interesting because magpie stands for defiance. Magpie is the bird that shows up in my life anyway when the dark side is really at me, as it is at this moment in time. And magpie is there to say, find a way back to your heart and be lovingly defiant, or defiantly loving, because it's very difficult at the moment. I mean, this morning I've already had a complete meltdown just because I was there and I was reading some comments below a video. The video was very good, and there was some pearls in it, I was going about pearls, and then I decided to just read the comments, and it was like full of these fucking one-dimensional seeming individuals. Are they individuals? No. One woman going on about, oh, it's just been so tough. Oh, it's just been so hard. I'm looking to go on a retreat and do some horse riding. And I was like, wow, you would actually do that to an animal. You would, personally, unless I've asked this horse, and this horse has said to me, I agree to you getting on my back and riding me, I wouldn't want to do that. They put metal in their mouths, horses. It grinds their teeth down. It's incredibly cruel, actually. It's really, really bad. So somebody who says that clearly is not awake. They're not awake, and they don't see anything wrong with being cruel to an animal and using an animal. So that set me off a bit. But then there's all these people that come out with this pseudo-spiritual language as well. And you look at it and you think, what are you on about? Why do you write that comment? Or, you come across as well, like videos or just in general, just people, when you're really down and grinding it out, right, in the darkest recesses of your subconscious, dealing with yet another layer of shadow and whatnot. And so you're in a really bad state, and these people come along and for their own egotistical pleasure stand there and tell you how you're getting it wrong, how you're just getting it wrong, because, you know, really awakening is all about just getting better and better and better. You know, and it's actually it's really quite evil and sadistic. If awakening was about getting better and better and better, then what's happening in the world right now would not be happening. Awakening, we came into this sadistic concentration camp, which, yes, it has beauty. There's no doubt about that. It does have beauty. It has all kinds of beautiful animals and some beautiful people, beautiful colours, nature, art, whatever. Yeah, it's true. But it's still a sadistic concentration camp. And we came into this to awaken to it, all of it, to its true nature and to what this is really about. What lies at the centre of it all? What is evil? Where does it come from? What does it do? We went through everything that we went through as children as well. These horrific childhoods that totally robbed us of everything, that took literally everything from us. Our ability to thrive, to be creative, to love ourselves. It took all of that away from us, man. You know, they bludgeoned us into pulp. They, like I said yesterday, were like pieces of paper that were just being ripped apart. I just don't get it. I don't get how there's these people that do these videos and they're like stood there like that and they're like, you know, posing. They're posers. That's what they are. Most people are posers. You're posers. You're fakes. Oh. Strike the right posture and say the right words. You know. And pretend that you're really with it and you're awakening, and it's like, yeah, but it's not, and you're a fake and you're a poser. And then there's soul travelers, like really going through it, awakening deeper and deeper and deeper, really getting it. Because they were born with the impetus, right? It's only when you've been through it yourself to any extent that you get it. If you've had a nice, relatively easy life, you won't get it. There's no impetus, there just isn't. So there's all these people that are playing at awakening, and they think they're awakening, but they don't get it at all. And they've been doing it for years and they haven't really changed. So I think that's about it for them. That's it. They've reached their desired level or something. You know. But of course that's just, I don't know, maybe that's just me creating a certain thing, whatever, and it's triggering me. I don't know. It's so difficult to have any kind of clarity, you know. It's what I've noticed as well is it's all very left brain with these people. It's very left brain. There's no emotion. Very left brain, which is all about pretty language. And it's like yesterday I said, anybody can pretend to be anything, or, you know, they can. And if you have the right language, the right lingo, the right words, you know, and this, that and the other, and you set it up right and you have the right, you know. And that's what the mainstream media does every day. They do that. It's called mind control, it's manipulation and it's gaslighting, you know, but there's so many people doing it. And yet, here we are, and we go through this shit. I mean, I got a comment from a lady called Lisa, and I read your comment, Lisa, and my heart just Yeah, I know, I get it. I mean, well, obviously I don't get it. I am not living your life, I'm living my life, but I understand that feeling of, oh my fucking God, I'm with my back against the wall. I've been with my back against the wall my entire life. It's because of that I kind of really understand what this world is about, what mind control is all about, why people behave the way they do. I get it in that sense. You know, this whole fucking nastiness. People are always trying to get one over on each other, you know. It's always like that. I'm stronger than you, I'm more beautiful than you, I'm smarter than you, I have more money than you. This is the game that people play. They don't even realize they're playing it. People are racist as well. They don't even realize that. And when you start to really get into shadow work, all that shit will come up from within you, believe it or not. And you have to feel it and face it and release it. You have to do that. But you'll find that really difficult because of all the guilt programming. You know? Because it's in all of us and it's programming. It was put there. It doesn't mean we are the bad people, that we're sinful, that we're guilty, or that we're worthless. It doesn't mean that at all. They put it there. I mean, it's why poor people behave a certain way. I said it yesterday, they lack vocabulary because they were very badly, especially in this country, in England, but I think it's pretty much the same all around the world, or the disc, or whatever, the globe, fuck knows, the cube, the triangle, the non-existent reality. Poor people are indoctrinated in the mind control factories in such a way. It's a bit like in 1984, where you have the alphas and you have the betas and you have the gammas. Well, the poor people are the gammas, you see, so they're not given much. They're given enough to make them completely subservient through trauma programming and self-hate. You know, you're worthless, you shit, you're worthless, you shit. You're poor, so you're worthless and you shit. They don't have the same opportunities, there's no doubt about that. They don't get to go to university to become a doctor. Not that you'd want that, because what are doctors but drug dealers at the end of the day and whatnot. But, you know, I'm saying there is a lot of anger, there's a lot of a sense of disenfranchisement, which is it's very much a fact when you're poor. This is why I think there's so much rage amongst the African American, I hate that terminology, but I don't like to say black either, because there is a tribe in Africa and these people are black. Their skin is blue black and they're amazing. I love that. That's really cool. But I don't want to call African American people black, and I don't want to call them African American, because I've done some research kindly pointed out to me by a subscriber that there were black people in America that did not come from Africa, which, again, this doesn't surprise me. So calling them African American is like a bit of an insult, really. But, you know, the Black Lives Matter thing really is just a nasty manipulation, but there is no denying the fact that very bad things happen to people of colour. And there is a lot of trauma in those bloodlines, a shitload of fucking trauma, man. There is a lot of, I mean, the jails, the prisons in America are full of Hispanics, full of African Americans, full of them. And poor white trash, you know, poor white people. Makes me think of that song by Creedence, I Ain't No Fortunate Son. One way or another, whether you're white, black, purple, yellow, orange, green, blue, fuck knows, right? We are here, and they're playing us, you know, the hands, they play us in so many different ways, And we play ourselves as well with this crap, because what's really been coming up for me, and it's kind of scary for me just being honest about this, but I feel the need to do it because somebody's got to. So I'm just going to come out with it. But yeah, I feel worthless because I'm poor. I feel worthless because I don't have a home of my own. Because I'm not well enough to work. So, you know, it's... I come from a family where status was everything. It was the utmost of everything. Status. You have to have status. It's presumably because status is equated with safety. But if you think about it, it's really fucked up. So people want status above all things because it makes them feel safe. They crave that feeling of safety. They crave that because not being safe hurts. It's a horrible experience. Yet when they attain this status and all this money and their homes and their holiday homes and their this and their that, they treat poor people like absolute shit, right? It's like, well, you're just no good because you're poor. See, now I am a better person than you because look at everything that I have, right? Now, I don't begrudge people who have worked hard and who have things. That's absolutely fine. It is what it is. It isn't right because why should we even have to work? The amount of work, jobs, employment around the world that serves absolutely nothing but the beast system is, wow. Most people do jobs that are utterly meaningless, that just serve the system, the bloated parasite, and that's all that is. But it's that behavior, isn't it, that people engage in through the programming, through their own trauma-based mind control, where I am better than you because I have money, and because you don't have money, or because you're not well, you're worthless. Here in England, they mercilessly persecute people on benefits. It is appalling. I mean, truly horrific. So people that are already sick, mentally, you know, physically are not doing well, are persecuted. They have to come in for these assessments where they're gaslit and manipulated, where they are humiliated and ripped apart in every imaginable way, and then told that they're not entitled to the benefits. They have to make a trial, they have to go through a tribunal, they have no money in the interim. It's truly horrific. It really, really is. It's appalling. I mean, it's happening to somebody who lives down the road from me right now, and this woman is very, very ill. Very ill. It's quite obvious that she's ill, but she was told that, you know, she was just pretending and making it up. And I'm like, wow. And I feel so bad for her. And the thing is that she's there and she can't even see that that is wrong. You know what I mean? She's there feeling guilty and ashamed that, oh, maybe I shouldn't have been on benefits. Maybe I should get a job. And I'm like, darling, you can barely walk. Hello. They did this whole series called Benefit Streets on the on Channel 4 in this country, where they were making out that people on benefits were like the lowest of the low, and they were all living it up and, you know, drinking shitloads of alcohol and, you know, abusing their children and just the worst of the worst of the worst. And, you know, this is just a complete lie, but this is what they do, the mainstream media, you know. Everything is manipulated, everything is twisted, and yeah. And then you have the working poor, people doing jobs, working all hours, God sends, just to be able to feed themselves and their children or something like that. That's happening increasingly. Here in this country, they have a thing called 0-hour contracts. Oh. I mean, people that these nice people that want to go onto their retreats, for their spa retreats, and to go for their horse riding, whatever, and you know, that have suffered so much, they don't get it, and they are like a stick that is being prodded about in an open wound. That is what they are. When they come out with things like that, it's almost like their very existence is an accursed affront to those who are truly awakening, who are on their knees, who have been through fucking hell and then some. It's like, no, that is not right, but that is what this world is, and that is a major trigger, and it's so difficult, because it brings up all this rage and this hatred and this envy as well, and you've got to sit with that, you've got to be with that, because then the guilt comes, it goes, oh look, you're a bad person, you shouldn't feel that way. You know, you shouldn't feel that way, you're a bad person. Because that is what society does. See? That is the sick, evil, sadistic game they play. They put people against each other. They pit us all against each other. They pit people of different colour against each other, different religions, status, first rich versus poor and whatnot, against each other. You know, the healthy versus the ill against each other, pit us all against each other, all the time, continually. This is all on a subconscious level, most of it, people don't realise, seriously. And it brings up all this, you know, all this, like, these feelings of hatred, of vengeance, of racist feelings, of like, well, I don't trust black people. It's a terrifying thing that my mother was very racist. My mother, for some reason, just was horribly, she was a narcissist, and she was very racist. She pretty much hated everybody anyway, regardless, but it was like that. And I was subjected to that throughout my childhood. It's a type of abuse, no doubt about it. And even just recently, it was like, wow, all that programming. Now, I've got friends who are coloured, and they're lovely. They're, you know, they're beautiful people, and they're people. Their skin is a different colour, like, you know, whatever. We're people here, that's what matters. But, you know, this is programming. When that shit comes up, when you realise that, whoa, that's in there, it makes you feel so bad. And it's like, oh, do you know what I mean? Or like when some people moved into a flat not that far away from here, and they had a little dog, and it needed rehoming, and I got involved, and so I met these people, and it was like, in me was this like, oh, they're the lowest of the low, look at the way they live, look at how dirty their flat is, that stuff. And again, it was like, wow, you have to, that is what awakening is as well. That is all in there, people. That is programming, and it's in there. It's so tough. It's so tough. It's so tough to have to acknowledge that. Because the guilt, you see, the dark generator uses that against us all the time. It does that. That is the sick game that's being played here, you see. So that is the work that we're doing, to realise that this needs to be acknowledged. Then we need to understand it's programming. Then we need to release all that guilt and all that shame and all that fear and all that judgment and all that vengeance. We need to realise that deep within us, we feel so afraid. We feel so lost. We feel so worthless. It's all these triggers. It's all this mirroring. It's all this and all that is being triggered in a massive way right now. We know this, don't we? And so whilst all that's going on, and we are there screaming in agony, some of us, because it has just been so dire, so fucking incredibly beyond words dire, then you get these other people putting in their 10 cents, being all fake, all one-dimensional, and everything they do and everything they say seems to completely invalidate us. It does that, and we take it personal, because when you're in the middle of this, and we are in the middle of it, we're feeling so vulnerable. We don't seem to feel that connection, that heart-based sense of self, of I am, to know that, you know what, my worth is intrinsic. It is not dependent on how much money I have, or what color I am, or what gender I am, what religion I am, how well or how sick I am. It's intrinsic. I'm a soul traveler. I am here for a reason. Everything is going to be all right. I love myself. You know, sometimes it gets so dark you can't feel that, you can't tune into that. You're like a walking wound, and these creatures just stab you with a knife. It's, you know, and again, I don't want to take it personal. It isn't personal. It's there, I think, in a sense, to elicit this, to show us this, to bring it up shamanically, you know, very, very soul retrieval. But oh boy, it is beyond word. It's beyond word. It's like, that cannot possibly be in there, but it is. And then we're talking about, you know, we're always going on about being empaths, and we're talking about the narcissists and how much we hate the narcissists. But then you come across your own narcissist tendencies, you know, your own narky bits here and bits there, and, you know, the passive aggression and the sort of like the, you know, the schadenfreude, you know, where you want these people to suffer. You want to see them suffer because it would make you feel better. It's all this really dark shit that you have to look at and somehow work through, because you're not a bad person. It's trauma, it's trauma, it's trauma, and you can't heal it if you keep, oh, I'm spitting and blubbering. You can't heal it if you keep denying it and putting it away, pushing it away. Right? It has to be okay. Put it on the table and let the light shine on it. And let us honestly look at it. Let us feel it. Let us acknowledge it. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And let us understand that it is not an indication of our guilt and our inherent unworthiness. No. It was put there. It's what this is. It's the retico. It's where it lives. It's there in our consciousness, you know. His brain is squirming like a toad. There's a killer on the road. Oh, people. No, I'm so glad that I started this little channel. It's only got 653 subscribers. It's not big, but it makes up for that in pure gold, because I get the comments. I get these beautiful comments from subscribers that, well, I think we validate each other here, don't we? Because we tell each other of our troubles, of what we're going through, of what we're feeling, and it matters. Not really much can be conveyed in a comment. You know, I mean, we'd have to write an entire library to tell somebody the story of our lives, one way or another. In fact, we probably wouldn't be able to even do that. It is beyond words. We're real, we're raw, we're full, screaming right now. But at least here, you know, you'll find me just, and I'm going to keep doing this, people, because I think that somebody has to. I said it before, and I'm kind of putting myself on the line here, really, because there are always people who like to swoop in and take advantage of that for their own selfish reasons, and that really hurts me, because I'm actually really quite a fragile sort of person. I'm really sensitive and I'm really fragile. I have this side of me where I'm warlike, and, you know, like the incident with the woman in the car, and I would have, if she had gotten out of the car, there would have been a fight. It's as simple as that. And like I said, I really know how to defend myself. When my feathers get ruffled, I know how to fight. But I'd much rather not, because I don't like violence, you know. I don't really feel well, it's Wetico. It feeds the beast. All of it feeds the beast. You know, there was a release because I really let rip. It just came out. My self-control just went, oh well. It just collapsed. And believe me when I say that, actually I have quite a lot of self-control because the way I've been feeling, whoa boy. And there was a release that it was a pressure valve, and it was like, okay, I feel better now. But it's, you know, and yesterday there was this person saying, oh, well, you know, how to safely release this and how to safely release that emotion, and so that we're always nice and pleasant and polite. And I'm like, you know, that sounds really good and it sounds really spiritual, but that is not the reality of things, people. Things can get, as the Green Wizard will tell you, by the way, which is why I love the Green Wizard so much, because of his integrity and his honesty and the fact that he knows exactly what I'm talking about. So any new subscribers, by the way, go and check out a channel called The Green Wizard. Ducky. He's a good friend of mine, and he's just about an absolute diamond. I love him with all my heart because he knows what this is. He knows it. He is one of these people that's just on the page. He gets it, and he's doing what true soul travelers do. He keeps digging anyway. He keeps questing anyway. So go and check that out. And Fractions, which is another good channel, Fraccions. Fractions. Yeah. You know, we are here. We are actually doing the really hard work, sifting through the mud and the shit, and just acknowledging, being brutally honest and literally. And you know what, people, I'll be honest with you, astrologically speaking, wow, that's another thing that really triggered me, because I was looking into that and it was like, fuck. I was just speechless, because Mars is going retrograde. It's going to be squaring up with Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter. I just have no words for it, you know. Oh. There's this elderly gentleman who lives around the corner. He's got this little poodle, and she's blind. And he takes her for a little walk, and he loves her so much, and he's just such a nice gentleman. And I was chatting with him the other day, and he was saying, I think it's all a load of nonsense, you know. And I thought, you were damn right it is. What can we do? You know, we are where we are, and you know, it's so difficult. It's so hard when you're constantly, literally, it does feel like an attack, like something that just rips the rock from beneath your feet and says, you're getting it all wrong. You're getting it all wrong. You know, you're so depressed and you're so anxious, and you know, you're in such a terrible state, and that's all wrong. Look, true awakening is where you just keep getting better and better and more perfect and more shiny, you know. So we will continue to get that, and it will continue to trigger all that worthlessness programming in us, all that self-doubt programming in us. It will continue to trigger that and bring it up and bring it up and bring it up and bring it up, because that is what it is. It is of all the sort of religions and spiritual things and whatnot that I've come across, shamanism is the only thing that actually really resonates with me. And even there, obviously, I'm not taking it verbatim, because the shamanistic way of looking at it makes the most sense to me, that this is energetic. All these programs, hence all this these pains that a lot of people are getting in their solar plexus, you know, and the fact that I've seen these metallic looking things stuck on people's bodies, on my own body included, so call them implant devices, control devices, like you know, like an alien with these things like that. They look a bit like that, they're metallic, and when one of those is removed, then everything that it's kept trapped will boom come up like a volcano. And a lot of that sort of shit's going on because I keep dreaming about these things, and it's really just... So you're in the middle of this shitstorm, and there's all these beautiful, shiny people, you know, with all the correct language and the correct postures, and, you know, like when you... These people that... The weather people, you know, they're always there, and they've always got their hands a certain way, you know, as they speak to you. It's what the mainstream media does, and they intersperse it with images and this and that, and they make it look a certain way to make it more palatable, to make your consciousness absorb it, because it looks a certain way and it sounds a certain way, so it must be true and it must be right, and oh, it sounds really good. But when you step back from it, you think, whoa, that was a nasty bit of gaslighting nonsense. They always give you some truth, but it's mixed in with a shitload of lies, or if they're just whatever people without a so-called, well, there's always an agenda, of course. It's ego, basically. It's fake self, fake persona. Look at me, look at me, look at me. I know, but oh, it gets to me. It doesn't always, but it is getting to me, because it's a major trigger. It's showing up in my field that way because it is a trigger, and it's like, wow, people, wow. Because I've said it before and I'll say it again, if you're truly awakening right now, you're not going to be feeling great at all. No. You're going to be feeling way too fucked up to climb on top of a horse and pull those reins and yank that metal in the poor animal's mouth. You're not going to be feeling up to that at all. Oh, I don't know, people. I mean, I guess, you know, you can take it any way that you like. You can say what you like, you can do what you like, you can go where you like, all of that, but at the end of the fucking day, awakening is awakening, and it is not a pretty thing, it is not a happy thing at all. All the darkness has to be exposed, all that darkness and that insanity and that trauma, and the trauma is not a little thing, and it's not a simple thing at all. Not at all. Because the more you go into it, the more you heal, as it were, the more comes up for you to be healed, layer after layer after layer, and you start to realize how intricate and how complex trauma really is. How many nuances it has, how it has affected you, what society is. The whole kind of hive mass consciousness thing, the programming, the energetics of it, how it works, and it is very complex actually. It's beyond words, because it is energetic. It is not of this world, in a sense. Just like we came from beyond this place, and this place is just a distortion projected by malfunctioning consciousness. When you go into the maze, the windmills of your mind, you realize that, no, this is not a simple thing, a simple equation. It's not like, oh yeah, it was just alright then. Huh? It requires brutal honesty, it requires wanting to do the work, and it requires a great deal of stamina. It really does. And it is very, very tough, and you're surrounded by these people that pretend they're spiritual and they're pretending to do the work, but they've never even been to themselves. What's that song? I've been to paradise, but I've never been to me. It's a bit like that. It's all left brain, and it's all the fake persona pretending to be something. And that's a very clever ploy. It will keep you distracted. It will make you think that you're actually awakening and doing the work, but you're not. Because doing the work is something else altogether. And they're going to be there. They just will. Because that is part of the game, isn't it? They're going to be there, and they're going to make you feel like you're getting it all wrong. Like you're just too raw, and you swear too much, and you're not perfect enough and glossy enough. And you should be nicer and kinder and more considerate. And you shouldn't be aggressive, and you shouldn't say that, and you shouldn't get upset, and you shouldn't, and you mustn't. It's always like that. And it's an attack, and it's a manipulation, and it's gaslighting. And it's what the Wetico likes. But it never wins, because ultimately it just triggers our crap. It triggers that programming. It shows us exactly what's what if we use it correctly. And we sit with it and we feel it. And we emerge again. But I think, I don't know, I think we're in for some very deep, deep times. And I'm going to continue doing videos as best I can, just talking about how I'm feeling and what's going on here, and being as honest as I can be. And I hope that any of you feels free to leave a comment, even if you feel that maybe people won't understand your grief or your rage or your hatred, whatever it is. As long as it's real and authentic and honest, you can, you know, underneath in the comment section, you know, feel free to reach out. Feel free to leave your comments. Tell us what's going on. Share. And yes, it's nowhere near time for your lunch, little one. No, it's not. You know, I could say you're not alone, and that sounds nice, and it might give you 1 second of comfort, only then you realise that, well, you say that, but I feel alone. And I look around in my life and there's nobody that's awake. For some of us that's the case. I'm lucky, I've got some good friends who are with it, who are awake. And they're beautiful people, and I'm blessed that way. But there are people who have absolutely nobody, who are on their own, and it's like, fuck. You know, often enough surrounded by really toxic people like narcissists that they're entangled with due to having children with them and whatnot. And it's very, very hard going. It's really, really tough. There are people who are very ill because, you know, the Wetico, the programming, the trauma and all the distortions and that heavy, dense energy can make us very ill. It's why there is disease. It's why there is old age. It's why we die. Again, the shiny people, they accept disease. They accept death, old age, having to work for a living. They don't question that. It's like, well, that's all wonderful. And no, it isn't, people. Those are all symptoms of a sadistic beast system. That's what they are. We could live in a completely different world, and that's even just in a mundane. Of course, the world isn't really mundane. It just appears to be mundane. It isn't really. There is technology even that can do incredible stuff. And there is no need for anybody to be so sick. There's so many sick people, and because of this C thing now, people are not getting the medical attention that they need, as in operations and whatnot. You know, that can turn out sometimes as a good thing. It's like, you know, but of course they're still getting all the medications. Oh yeah, they're still getting those antibiotics and those antidepressants. Depression has hit an all-time high. Anxiety has hit an all-time high. But people are waking up. People that are... Oh, so beautiful. Little swallow, little baby swallow. There are people now that you would have never guessed would start to awaken, and yet there they are. I'm going to post a link to a channel in the drop down box below this video. The channel is called Anna Reese, I think. Now, these are people from all different walks of life, all the different classes, that lovely class system that we have, that frankly are just beginning to pay attention, and I think this is a good sign. So I'm going to post that link in the drop down box. Yeah, and I think that's just about it for today, people. So you're not alone, and it's like a platitude now, because you can say it 100 times, but you're still going to feel alone, especially when, you know, you're on the fire every day and it's so tough and it's so painful, and we do feel that way. We do feel alone. But, you know, somehow I feel, despite everything, whoa, I feel like this is going to work out all right, people. I really fucking do. I feel that way. I have always felt that way. It's always there. It's always there, consistently. There are times, in fact, the last May, June, July have been so dark that I haven't really been able to feel much. It's just been really dark, so depressed. But it's there, vaguely, but it's there. And I hold on to that, and I allow it to hold on to me. It's like I said, I keep focusing on that light. It's like we're zeroing in on that point of light, you know, which is ultimately that reset, that holy grail. Because this world, like I keep saying, is not real. It's like the side of that van, of that picture. Rolling hills and little cottages and little people. But it was made of bread. It was all fake. It's a Truman Show, people. It ain't real. It's all energetic. It's like clay, and it's inspired by us. But how can we dream a new world into being when we are bogged down with all this trauma programming, right? So we have to clear it all out. We have to work our way through all that darkness back into our power, into our heart, into our I am, to get back to ourselves, to become whole again. That's what it's all about. It's not about being pretty and being nice. I'm not saying, obviously, I'm not advocating violence. I'm not advocating aggression. I'm not advocating jealousy, envy, vengeance, abuse. None of that. What I'm saying is that, having lived in this insane asylum, these are all nuances of what we feel, what we experience. And to deny it and repress it in favor of pretending to be something, that is sick. And that is exactly what Wetigo wants us to do. Feel it to heal it. Don't act on it, obviously. Although, yeah, you know, when you're bursting at the seams, sometimes you're going to spill over. And when that happens, I say, forgive yourselves, focus on that, set your intentions. Because the dark generator is always there. Ha, see, you're guilty and you're bad. See, now that is what keeps us trapped. That's why they have prisons full of people. Because all that guilt programming and all that punishment and all that vengeance just breeds more evil and more darkness. That's how that works, people, and we know it. Anyway, that's it for today. All my love to all of you, and, you know, always feel free to leave a comment if you want to just tune in and tell people about yourself, or not. That's entirely up to you. And you know, keep setting that intention for self-love in the middle of this dark chaos and insanity within us and external to us. The one point to focus on, remember, is that star that shines so bright, like Venus, when the whole sky is black, but you can see that point of light, bright, bright, bright. Focus on that, people. It's called love, self-love. Everything it tells us we are the opposite. Remember that.